Now, one of the things you mentioned before about the new band, and it is a new band, a brand new band, but you were working with the other guys for so long. Like, had you been a band, not David Gray, that would have been like this big news headline that, the band has broken up. But, as a solo artist, it sort of gets
Yeah,
slightly dismissed, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. Well, I guess, you know, that it's not the first band I ever had. It's just a very significant one because the success came and I put this group of people together. It's mainly Clune was the biggest part of the band. I mean, he was the heartbeat of the whole thing, and he stood with me through all those lean years when things were bloody awful, half the time. And we were like brothers, really, so that was a really big deal to say goodbye to Clune. But his appetite for the whole thing was waning. He wanted to chill out and enjoy life a bit. And then all I wanted to do was make the next record and go on tour again. It was driving him around the bend. I think he wanted to slow down. So that I think there was a sort of disparity of appetite. And for me, it's something I have to do. It's not that there's any choice over it. As soon as I'm back and I'm rested a bit and I can think again, I want to write songs, and my brain is bursting with ideas. So I need to go in the studio and do more. And just because you made a good record the year before doesn't mean you're entitled to make one this year. You have to tear up the past and you move on, taking only the experience and the knowledge you have with you and whatever feelings you've got to offer. So it just kind of waned, and I think we'd been in a very sort of compressed situation. We'd done so much touring. We probably did 4 or 5 years really on the road, and then a good couple of years in the studio, and the rest of the time we had off, the other 6 months. So in a sort of 8 or 9 year period, we'd seen about as much of each other as we wanted to, and all that fraying and abrasion, it does take its toll, and people become jaded and a little bit complacent about it. So, yeah, I mean, people say, why change something that wasn't broken? But for me, it's about the creative spark, and I wanted to be awake again, 100%, challenging myself. And I just sensed it was the right time. So it wasn't like I sent them all a horrible email or just didn't ring them. I got in touch with everyone and said, hey, it wasn't like we won't work again. It's just I need a new challenge. I need to do something else for a while. I don't know what the future holds. So it was a scary decision. I didn't know what was going to come instead of it. I didn't have anything else lined up. But as soon as I made the change, I knew it was the right thing to have done. And when the new band came together, well, when you've really got a need, life's completely different. When you have to do things because you don't have anything. And that was the sense that I wanted, a little bit of danger and a little bit of risk as well. And it did wake me up. And then when the new music began to crystallize with these new people, it was really fresh and exciting, not just for me, but for everybody. And there was no history there. It was a new thing. So there was no sense of repeating yourself. It was like new personalities, and we were all getting to know each other a bit. And it wasn't like it all went seamlessly well. We had lots and lots of bad days, tears, fisticuffs, arguments, all the usual shit that you get when you make a record. It wasn't like it was plain sailing. But all the time, the results just spoke for themselves. And for me, it stands up with all the best things I've done. So it was worth all the trouble, for sure.
Because Neil, Robbie and Keith, they're not just a band, are they? They're also co-writers with you.
Yeah, I give writing credit when an idea is born, and it wouldn't have been if someone hadn't contributed something. So the reason there's more and more writing credits is because more and more I'm writing in the studio. So as I'm working on one song, let's say there's a song on the album called Breathe, which I use this Nashville tuning, which is very high tuning on the guitar. And it's kind of characteristic, and I'd be jangling around, and we just couldn't for the life of us find out quite how to record this song. But every time we worked on that song, as a byproduct, another song came along. Because of this sort of the nature of this tuning, it sort of makes the chords ring out quite differently. We'd be working on it and then sort of down tools for a minute, just like, hey, everyone just chill out. And then Draw the Line as an example. I just started to play this little riff, like a Nick Drake riff almost. And then Robbie joined in on the bass. And it was like it started to go. And then Neil picked up on it and began this other sort of Nick Drake jangle on the top. And I just started shouting, you've got to draw the line over it. And I was like, hang on, hold everything. Record this. This is more interesting than the thing we're doing. So like, because they were all there and it wouldn't have happened in that way, I gave them a writing credit, but I then took this raw idea and made it into a song. So when I take it away, they might help me a little bit with the arrangement, but it's basically, I'll go and write then. But I think that I don't like the Hiram Fireman music world, so I want people to have more of a vested interest. So I'll give them something that's mine, where perhaps it's not like an industry standard thing to do. But I think I want them to be loyal to the source of the music in a way. So they get a slice of the cake. Well, they richly deserve it. They put their heart and soul into the whole thing. So yeah, there was a lot of credit to be given. I mean, Nemesis, one of the key tracks on the record, really sprung from this beautiful guitar line that Neil just started playing in a rehearsal, and I just recorded it on my little dictaphone or whatever I had at hand. And Robbie joined him, and then I took that idea and went and wrote a song all around it. So more and more I'm working off the chemistry of the musicians as a palette with which to write a song, you know, rather than scrolling through looking for a keyboard sound that's going to sort of catch your ear. Or sometimes you're just sitting there with an acoustic guitar with piano, plonk, 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 what am I going to do today? You know, I've done this 1,000 times before, why is a song going to turn up? So I like to be in situ and working on stuff, and so that's why there's that much more writing credit these days.
We were introduced to the album through the song Fugitive. You know, tell me about, you know, why that song was the decision to make that the first, well, single, if we still have singles these days.
Yeah, I could never pick a single really for the life of me. I don't really know what one is, but I just listen to what everyone else seems to think. So everyone thought that was the single, so I just went along with them. It seemed to me like a perfect place to start the record, because there's something unquestionable about the presence of the music. It has real force and dynamism, and it's an unusual beat. It's almost like a Public Image style bass line. It's just something I haven't done before, and it seemed to announce the record very well. So it's like a statement of intent, like a wake-up anthem. That's sort of how I hear it. So yeah, that was just, we had a wonderful few days in the studio when we recorded that, and we recorded Stella and another song which never made it. But each one of them was just completely energized. It's like we were just getting to know each other, and I think we'd all just had a break, having been working for a few months, and came back and there was just a little bit of downtime, and I was like, what are we going to do? Are we going to work on some of the tracks we've started? Or I said, no, let's forget it. Let's just start with nothing and see what we can do. We've got 3 or 4 days, and we just made these songs up. There was just a joy to it. We weren't questioning it or even thinking it was important. And these unguarded moments of just sheer enjoyment, that's what you want the most. So it has a kind of vibrancy, I think, that song, and it seemed like the right way to start the record. It also starts with Keith, and I think he's become the new heartbeat of the music. He's a phenomenal drummer. Clune was amazing in a completely different style, and Keith's just got a little bit more attitude and a thump to him. He's a bit more sticks rather than brushes. And it seemed like the right thing to start the record with.